y'all, it is Nikki. Welcome back to the channel. So thank the Lord, I've actually had a pretty good week for writing, coming off of that horrible chapter that I wrote or finished last week. I was kind of in a bit of a rut, and not just because of that chapter, just all in all this project was feeling, I don't know, something wasn't working. There were lots of things that I had to figure out, and I was just sort of losing my oomph and starting to wonder if it was one of those projects that you started before you were ready to start drafting. And that has happened before. I don't know if any of you remember Operation Ever, which was a NaNoWriMo project that I tried a couple years back. I was really excited about it, and I had planned like pretty extensively for it, but I got about 60 pages in, 60 pages, and realized I have not done enough planning and I don't know enough about where the story is going. I'm going to stop now while I still like what I have, and hopefully one day I'll be able to pick up with those 60 pages and make something of them. But this story is a little bit different than that, because I didn't make it 60 pages, I made it almost 300 pages, and so I really don't want to quit on it. Which is why I was thankful when there was a little bit of a turning point this week, in part just due to the Lord inspiring me as he does, but also because I have just made more of an effort to make time for it. I finished binging the show that I've been binging over the past month, so that has freed up my evenings a fair bit. And I didn't want to let anything like that get in the way of writing anymore, so going forward I just want to be really strict with myself about that. I'm going to watch something. It needs to happen after writing has happened, or it needs to happen at such a time that I can still do writing afterwards. Yesterday my brother had a class in a downtown area near me, and I actually just went with him so that I could go down to the river in the downtown in the morning and write for like an hour, which was really nice and made me really wish that I lived in a downtown region, because there's just something so cool about living downtown and walking everywhere and getting coffee and writing in cafes and stuff. I don't know. I live in the country, so I have to drive everywhere I want to go. I got about 1,000 words in, a little more, and I would have liked to accomplish more than that, but I'm happy with the progress, and it really did feel like I started to get some forward momentum going. I had a work shift that afternoon, and it was one of those awesome work shifts where the ideas were just flowing, and so I could be scrubbing toilets but also plotting books in advance and figuring out my ending, and I actually made some major breakthroughs for this story, which is super exciting. Because here was my dilemma. I am heading into the midpoint of the story, and I know what you're thinking. Wow, 300 pages in and she's just reaching the midpoint now? I know, it's a problem. That aside, there is a scene that has been sort of like in my head for this project for years and years, since the very beginning. You know how you have those magical moments, like the dots in a connect the dot, that you are trying to connect with your story, and those are the ones that you're really looking forward to, ones that you've been imagining and fantasizing about for a long time. And it was going to be really sweet, and I was really excited about it. But that morning when I was writing away and getting closer and closer to that moment, I started realizing, like, I don't know how I'm gonna bring the story to the scene. There's not really a place for it here, and I started to wonder, will I have to scrap this scene? Have I just written my way away from this scene that I really want to make happen? It was a little bit of a crisis, but by the end of my work shift, I had actually figured out a way to keep the scene. I just need to shift it somewhere else where it will do more work in its placement and will feel more right with the arc of the story and with the pacing of things. So, crisis averted. Writing is always an up and down emotional roller coaster. Sometimes it feels really easy and everything is really fun and the story is just flowing. Other times it is work, fighting for every word and trying to dig yourself out of holes and write yourself out of corners, and it can be really grueling and exhausting sometimes, and in those times I often convince myself not to. I talk myself out of writing in the evening after a long day, but I want to get better about pushing through that, because it only gets better when you actually take the time to sit down with the problem, wrestle with it a little bit, and try and write through it. I don't want to get into the habit of procrastinating when things slow down, because then I'll just slow them down even more. The things you learn. This week is looking pretty busy, but I'm hoping to maintain some forward momentum, get some writing in whenever I can, between classes, when I get home from classes, and before karate, whenever. I just really want to make sure that I'm writing daily and getting into some better writing habits. I want to make sure that I'm doing my best to set myself up for success, and I know that the Lord will provide the inspiration in His time. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, do not forget to spend some time in the clouds today.